Hello, welcome to Middle East Matters. I'm Rochelle Ferguson-Bouyahi. Coming up in this week's show, propaganda or proof of increasing support for President Bashar al-Assad. Moscow invites the international press to the Syrian region of Hama. Who's clinched the title of best anti-terror unit in the world? Our correspondents report from the Warrior Games in Jordan. And in Egypt, experts called for new technology to determine whether or not Tutankhamun's tomb contains hidden chambers. We begin in Syria's second largest city of Aleppo, where a partial truce scheduled to end late on Monday has been extended by 48 hours. Well, dubbed a regime of silence, the extension came as the US and Russia agreed to bolster efforts to resolve Syria's 5-year-old conflict. The two world powers have also agreed to extend the freeze in violence across the whole of the country. This as they struggle to get peace talks in Geneva back on track. The Syrian army has recently made big gains in the battle against the Islamic State group with the help of Russian airstrikes. Moscow, though, is keen to show it's not only concerned with dropping bombs. To do so, its military has invited the international press to the Syrian region of Hama. The aim, well, to show what they say is increasing support for President Bashar al-Assad.
Returning from a mission to the airbase in Latakia, Russian bombers have carried out more than 80 sorties over just 4 days. There may be a fragile truce between forces loyal to President Bashar al-Assad and a number of opposition groups, and some troops have returned home, but Russian warplanes are still a common sight in the skies above Syria. Their declared targets, extremist groups who reject all attempts at a ceasefire. But when it comes to ascertaining the precise number of Russian soldiers still stationed in the war-ravaged country, getting a clear answer isn't easy.
Believe me, there are enough men here to fight effectively against terrorist groups, the Islamic State organization and the Al-Nusra Front.
The Russian Ministry of Defense has invited the international press to witness a selection of its activities. Accompanied by a military escort, 5 coaches leave for the region of Hama, 2 hours' drive from the Mediterranean coast. A key goal of the trip to show the world that Russia isn't solely concerned with dropping bombs, especially since the Syrian army, with Moscow's support, has been reclaiming territory from the rebels. The convoy soon enters Kokab, a village loyal to President Bashar al-Assad, recently returned to government control. Local children cheer, holding placards bearing the face of their leader. A not entirely spontaneous show of gratitude. This is the Syria Russia wants the world to see.
It's one family only coming back, or many families?
All the families.
All the families?
All the families, yes.
Everybody's come back?
Yes, everybody returned to his house.
While the celebrations may appear to be for the benefit of the cameras, the humanitarian aid is always well received. But the day's major set piece takes place here. With their faces hidden, these men are presented to the press as reformed rebels who've chosen to lay down their weapons. Identical scenes have been played out in more than 90 villages in the last 2 months. All of them in territory controlled by President Assad, staunch ally of Russian President Vladimir Putin. After 5 years of war, true reconciliation that reaches across territorial lines remains a long way off.
Next, the trial of an Israeli soldier accused of killing a Palestinian assailant as he lay injured on the ground has opened in the city of Jaffa. If found guilty, Alor Azaria faces up to 20 years behind bars over the incident in the West Bank city of Hebron last March. The case has sparked widespread media attention, as France 24's Laurent Bersticker explains.
Accused of conduct unbecoming of his rank and position, Franco-Israeli soldier Alor Azaria was hugged by his mother on the opening day of his trial. The 19-year-old is being charged with manslaughter for killing a wounded Palestinian, but his lawyers say he acted in self-defense.
This is the formal beginning of the trial. We are set and ready to continue with the same line of defense. Justice will come to light. The road will be long, but we will deal with it.
The scene unfolded in the West Bank city of Hebron on March 24th. 21-year-old Palestinian Abdel Sharif had just been shot after stabbing an Israeli soldier. While he was lying on the ground, visibly incapacitated, Elor Azaria took aim and shot him in the head. The young soldier initially said he saw the assailant reach for his knife, and his lawyers later argued he seemed to wear a suicide belt. But Sharif had already been checked for explosives, and the video clearly shows the knife was out of reach when he was shot. The incident has sparked international controversy amid a series of knife and car ramming attacks against Israeli soldiers and civilians, a wave of violence largely driven by desperation, according to this Palestinian youth activist.
They say that we have nothing to lose. We don't have a life, we are desperate, we have no hope for the future. Look to the economy, look to the unemployment, we have nothing.
The scandal has divided the country, with far-right supporters calling for Elor Azaria's release, while others have expressed outrage at the execution-style killing. Reacting to the backlash, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Israel's top military brass have strongly condemned the shooting.
Well, just a reminder that in our reporter show this week, our correspondents Iris Mackler and Pierrick Laurent take a look at the rise in violence between Israelis and Palestinians and ask the key question: what can be done to prevent it? To Jordan next, where last week elite units from 11 nations gathered for the Special Forces Olympics, also known as the Warrior Competition. Well, for the 8th edition, a total of 25 teams competed in 11 gruelling games. Just one team, though, walked away with the sought-after title of Best Anti-Terror Unit in the world. Our correspondents Gail Sunderland and Julien Fouché were there to witness the action.
After breaching the door, this team now has to take down terrorists. These jihadists are mere plastic targets, but the pressure is real. This Jordanian anti-terror unit has to clear the building and reach the base in less than 3 minutes. Welcome to the annual Warrior Competition. 25 anti-terror units have gathered from around the world to fight a fake war in Jordan. Kazakhstan is biting the dust. In the water, the Jordanian Royal Guard. The Chinese are exhausted. And the Canadians are motivated. For this Lebanese anti-terror unit, the competition is a nice change from infiltrating terrorist groups.
It puts some fun in the training.
Is it a way to share your experiences?
Yes, we're here to share our skills and see how others work compared to us.
The Americans are running the show. They belong to the Special Forces and dodge any questions about their presence in Jordan.
This is a nice place to visit. We go to Petra, there's plenty of things to see.
Washington fully financed the base where the competition is held. Spread over more than 7,000 acres, the facility has a lifelike city and a fake civil airport. The Jordanian Royal Guard is proud of this training center, caught between Iraq and Syria.
Jordan is a peaceful country surrounded by terrorists. All our armies come here to practice. It's an important location to gather all armies.
It is also a key location for sponsors. Today, enthusiastic shooters overwhelm these firearm dealers.
Okay, if you're civilians, we're not allowed to let you shoot. The best place to do that, in my opinion, in the world today is at the Warrior Competition, because you get massive international exposure. There's so many teams.
Is business good here?
Well, I think look around you today. Does that not answer the question?
While the sponsors compete for market share, the actual winner of the Warrior Competition was the Lebanese anti-terror unit, followed by Palestine and Canada.
And finally to Egypt, where authorities say new technology is required to determine whether or not Tutankhamun's tomb contains hidden chambers. Archaeologists recently announced the tomb could hide Queen Nefertiti's remains, a theory which has been met by others in the field with scepticism. In the first place, experts disagree on the methods used to search the chambers.
Hoping to solve one of ancient Egypt's oldest mysteries. Archaeologists met with Antiquity Minister Khalid Al-Anani in Cairo to discuss whether undiscovered chambers could still be hiding behind Tutankhamun's tomb. Some believe the rooms could contain the remains of the legendary queen Nefertiti. The theory's proponent, Egyptologist Nicholas Reeves, says he has observed traces of secret passageways through cracks on the tomb's walls.
As I said right at the beginning, I could be completely wrong. This could be nothing. But on the other hand, if it's not a wild goose chase, if I'm right in my understanding of reading of the evidence to suggest it might be the burial of Nefertiti behind the North Wall, well, surely that's worth going the extra mile.
A claim backed by former Egyptian Antiquities Minister Mamdouh Damati, who said in March there was a 90% chance the hidden chambers existed. But even the most recent scans made with top-of-the-line Japanese radars were inconclusive, and other members of the scientific community have disputed the theory. Leading Egyptologist Zahi Hawass said there was no conclusive evidence and warned that drilling the tomb without proof was out of the question.
The Japanese radar never said anything, and therefore no radar in the world can say there is organic material behind the wall. It never happened. Therefore, what has been said about the discovery of Nefertiti inside the tomb of Tutankhamun is not correct.
The dispute is emblematic of Egypt's tense relationship with foreign archaeologists. Traditionally better trained and equipped, the latter have often discovered and claimed treasures which Egypt considers part of its national heritage.
Well, that's all from the Middle East Matters team for now. See you at the same time next week.